Okay. Dang it! I dropped my water. Oh god. Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. My name is Alana. I was supposed to have started this like 2 months ago, to be completely honest. I've had people asking me to start this channel for like ever now. But you know, like going through what I go through, you have a little bit of insecurities, you don't really know how to handle them. You're always worried about what people are gonna say. Like, I'm getting better to where I necessarily don't care. But for a really long time, I was always caught up in what someone had to say about me and what it was gonna mean if I did this or whatever it was. I was really caught up in it. But I'm battling my own insecurities to help anyone that this is gonna help. Just because I wish I would have had more resources that I'd known of, or people that I'd known of that I could connect to on a personal level, whether it was on YouTube or Instagram or Twitter, whatever it is. And I can ask questions and they can be honest with me and transparent. And that's all I want to be able to do to help with anyone else. This is really nerve-wracking, so it's not going to be a perfect video. I have no idea how to edit. I have no idea how to film. I didn't know what to do for the background, so I hope this works. This is literally like me kind of just jumping in and doing this. I do have some notes that I will be looking at, just kind of keeping me on track. Like I said, because I don't really know how to do the swing of this thing, so just please bear with me. If you have any questions, make sure you leave a comment, message me, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. Both of my handles on there are AlanaPage15. I would love to hear from you. If there's anything that I can do, experience that I've had, or anything that I can share that would benefit you in any way, please let me know. That's what I'm here for. I want to make sure that I'm doing what I can to help anyone else. Even if I just help one person, I'm doing what I meant to do. And that's all that matters. So let's get on to my story, and I hope you enjoy it. I had the gastric sleeve back in November of 2017. My exact surgery date was November 13th, 2017. And I'm here to talk about my weight loss journey, how I came to the idea of getting the gastric sleeve, why I chose the gastric sleeve, and how life has changed now that I'm 6 months out. So just to start off with, I'm going to run off some stats for you. I have like a whole list of them, but I'm only going to give you like bullet points so you kind of get the idea. I am 5'6", almost 5'7". I like saying 5'7" because I like being taller, but you know, society doesn't always agree with me, you know, especially doctors, so it happens. But, so I'm 5'6.5". My starting weight, actually my surgery weight, I was actually a lot heavier before my surgery, which is crazy to think. Like, I would never be like, wow, Alana, like, you were that big. But kind of looking back now, I'm like, dang, like, this is crazy. Like, I was that big. But my starting weight was, or my surgery weight was 377 pounds. Now, this is before, like, this was what I went in to surgery. Like, on surgery day, I was 377. That means I had to have lost at least 20 pounds before in order for me to have that. So I was close. Like, I was like right there to 400 pounds. And I really don't like telling people that, just because it's here that that hurts. Like, that's why I don't like talking about it. It's my own insecurity. I am so ashamed at the fact that I got to almost 400 pounds. I'm not ashamed of myself, like, as a person, but I'm ashamed that I let myself get there, that I didn't be like, hey, Alana, like, you need to stop what you're doing and fix yourself. Like, you need to figure out what else we can do. I should have never let myself get that big, but I did. We took care of it, and we're getting back on track. And I am healthier than ever right now, which is amazing, and I'm not even done yet. So, my biggest weight was probably close to 400, but my surgery weight was 377. My current weight is 226 pounds. So if you don't know and you don't really want to do the math, because I didn't want to do the math, That is a grand total from my starting surgery weight to right now. I have lost 151 pounds. Round of applause, please. Oh God, that's crazy. When I think about how I've lost an entire person and I'm still not done is crazy to me. My goal weight is like 150, 160, kind of just depending on how I feel, where my body's at and stuff like that. But ultimately, like, that's my goal. I've lost a whole person. Like, if you think about that, like a decent size, like the normal size female in America is about like 140, 150, and I have lost an entire person. That is insane. Like, I am a completely different person than I was when I was almost 400 pounds. I like to think that I still have the same personality and stuff, but I'm a lot more confident. I am not afraid to go talk to people. I'm not afraid to put myself out there. I still have my insecurities. Like, I'm still like, not really, no, not feeling it. But compared to where I was a couple months ago is insane. But like, here's some backstory on me though. I've never really been one that hasn't been confident in themselves. I was always confident in my personality and my intellect and my like my sense of humor. Like, I've always been really confident in that. I've just never been confident in my own body. I've always had really bad like self-esteem issues. I've always had really bad like body image issues. But like, as time goes on, like, I've become more confident in myself, and that's all I can really ask for. I'm beginning to love myself. I do have a lot of issues that I'm trying to work on. But going back into my stats, my neck, when I started my journey, was 17 inches. 17. That's crazy. Now is 14. I've lost 3 inches, but the difference in my neck is crazy. Like yes, I've lost 3 inches around my neck, but it feels like I've lost so much more. Like, I used to have this big lump right here that was just fat sitting on the back of my neck, and it's just not there anymore. It's crazy. Like, it's insane. Probably the biggest one that has changed is my waist size. My starting waist size was 60 inches, like 61 inches, but I think I wanted to cheat just a little bit. So I'm pretty sure it was closer to 61. And that was back in November. Now my waist size is 37. That puts me in like a 14. I have not been a size 14 since I was probably 14 years old. And I am 21. That's crazy. Also, another big one that has changed is my arms. My arms are also a big insecurity of mine, just because like when you lose weight, stuff drops. Like, your skin drops, the way that your fat is dispersed drops. So you end up looking saggy, especially when you lose as much as I did in such a short period of time. So you gotta understand that when the battle comes, so does the territory, right? So one of my big insecurities is my arms. So you can actually see the line right here. Like, this is the line, and then this is like the extra skin with like a little bit of tissue fat. But like, that's what it is. Like, bam, bam, look at that flex. Hey, this is what I'm insecure about. So like, I'm learning to love it, embrace it. I would much rather have like saggy skin, like extra skin and stuff like that, than have all the fat that filled this arm. So like, this arm has gone down. This is my right arm. My right arm starting was 29 inches. 29 inches, this bad boy right here. And it wasn't all muscle, I promise. Right now it is 14 inches. And also, like, for my legs have changed a lot too. They've kind of toned up a lot, which I love, because like, leg day is the best. But my left thigh started at 28 inches, and then it's now 21, which may not really seem like a big difference, but a lot of my leg is now muscle. I've lost a whole lot of fat within my calves and my thighs. I've always had like good looking legs, so you can say. Like, people have always complimented me on how like good my legs look and stuff like that. Even whenever I was like 400 pounds, they're always like, Alana, like, you have such good looking legs. I'm like, thanks, appreciate it. I lift. I didn't lift. So yeah, that's it for my stats. I'll go ahead and post like all of them down below, so that way if you want to see like for yourself, like if my right calf has changed more, or if my like chest area has like gone down a bunch, you can definitely do that. So I'll leave that down below. The next thing that we are going to cover is going to be why I decided to do this. So I have always been a super active individual. I have always been a part of things, but I haven't always been honest about my food intake. Food for me is an addiction. It's something that I still struggle with to this day. Like last night, I was having problems with it. I see food as a coping mechanism. I'm trying not to. I'm trying to fix it. But I see food as a coping mechanism. So whether I'm celebrating, whether I'm sad, whether I'm stressed out, or whatever the situation is, I will find some way to incorporate food into it. It starts from when I was very, very young. I would hide bags of chips and candy and stuff like that under my bed. Like, I had this bed, it was a day bed, but it had like a centerpiece. Like, it was a wooden day bed, but it had a centerpiece in the middle, and all you had to do was like pop it open, and then you can actually crawl underneath it. So I had tons of treats and stuff down there. And I specifically remember I had ants in there one time, and my mom was so upset with me. She was like, Alana, if you're still hungry, just say something. Like, you don't have to hide it. And I was like, I'm not hungry. I just want the food. You know, like, I didn't understand what it was then, and I don't think she or my dad did either. But it was an addiction for me. Food was my way out, and it just kind of got worse over the years. I started developing bad habit after bad habit. I became addicted to Dr. Peppers and sweet tea. I would not go a day without a sweet tea, at least. Up until my senior year of high school, every single day I would go get a Sonic iced tea, like sweet tea. Like, I was obsessed with it for some reason, and that is terrible for you. Like, it's okay every now and then, but I was going every day, sometimes like 2 or 3 times a day, which is insane. Like, Sonic has like the majority of my like money from my childhood just because of their drink. So I would always cope with food. Being so depressed, I went to McDonald's and bought 2 meals, like with 2 drinks, and then came home and ate everything. Like, everything, because I was so upset. And that's not an excuse, like, ever. Like, I look back on it and I'm like, dang, like, I was in a really dark place then. And I still struggle with it. Like, the other day, I was having a really bad day, and honestly, all I wanted was chocolate. I hate chocolate. I hate it. Like, I can have a little bit of it, but I hate chocolate. Like, it's probably the last thing, not the last thing on earth, but I definitely wouldn't pick like chocolate to be the first thing I eat. And I was just craving it, and so I had a little bit of a setback, but that's okay. I didn't indulge in it. I let myself have it, and then that was it. But so yeah, food has always been like a crutch. That's the best way to put it. And trying to establish that is the hardest thing ever, because you don't want to think that you're addicted to food. Like, who's addicted to food? But people don't understand how addictive putting the process of greasy or sweet food, putting it in your mouth, and then that relief you get from eating that. I don't get that relief anymore. I actually get like nausea and pain, but that's like beside the point. But people actually struggle with it. People actually struggle with the addiction of eating food. And it's a big thing. Like, why do you think in America, the obesity level is so up here? Like, granted, like, it's cheaper to go get like a burger than it is to go get a salad. And then there's a lot of context to that, but it's ridiculous. Like, there's no reason why we shouldn't treat food addiction the same way that we treat an addiction on drugs and stuff like that, because obesity is killing, like, it's killing thousands of people a year, and we should be concerned with it. So that, like, this is a place for us to get an open forum, talk about it, talk about foods, how we can help. Reach out to doctors. Like, if you feel like you are struggling with a food addiction, like, please reach out before you get to where you can't help yourself anymore. It's a big thing. It's scary, and you might not be ready to realize it yourself, but when you do, reach out. There's tons of resources. Talk to your doctor. Like, if you need to, go see a psychologist, go see a nutritionist. Maybe if the first step isn't attacking the addiction, maybe it's about changing and substituting the foods for a healthier situation. So whatever may work for you, let's see if we can find something to do, because living with an addiction like that is not fun. It's not fun, and it will cost you your life. And so that's something that you really need to think about if you think that if you struggle with a food addiction. And I'll also leave some resources down below about food addiction if you want to, like, learn more about it, or resources that you can go to online that can help you figure out what to do next. Also, feel free to ask questions down below. I'm here to help. Anything I can do, like, I'm gonna help you out. That is the main reason why I decided to change my lifestyle. Food, my world revolved around food for 20 years of my life. Every setting that we went to, party-wise, gathering, whatever it was, there was food there. Whatever we were doing, food was involved. Now, not so much, and it's really nice. But, you know, there's other stuff that I took into consideration whenever I started my weight loss journey. So I'll go ahead and talk about, like, kind of like each stage of my life. When I was younger, I ate like crazy. Like, I kept up with the boys, and I kept that routine up until my senior year in high school. I started developing bad habits when I was very young, and they stuck with me, and now they're, like, super hard to break. But my weight didn't explode until I got into high school. My freshman year, I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome. And for those of you that don't know, kind of like a synopsis of it is just that your body produces too many male hormones instead of, like, female hormones. And because of that, you have excess hair growth, excess weight gain. Your periods are, like, god-awful. Like, they're terrible. I would not move for 2 weeks. Like, I would have a period for 2 weeks. That's how bad it was. But, and, like, there's some other symptoms, but, like, those were my, like, big ones. Like, I still have, like, darkening, like, but that's also for diabetes, too. But my freshman year, I was diagnosed with PCOS, and I blew up like a balloon. Like, blew up. Like, you know, in Willy Wonka, when they're like, Violet, she's turning violet, and she, like, yeah, that was me my entire time in high school. I just didn't register it. I didn't see it. I didn't see me kind of getting bigger. When I was like 14, 15, I had no idea what polycystic ovarian syndrome was. I honestly, the first time someone told me about it, like when I did my research, it was like, you can die. And I was like, don't want to learn anymore. I'm out. But they have medication. They have ways to treat it. Diet and exercise is a really big part of it. Losing weight and stuff, although it can be super, super, super hard on when you have polycystic ovarian syndrome. It is possible. I was diagnosed with that my freshman year. I did have a couple of cysts. I had one cyst that was about like yay big. Sitting on my left ovary. It was a fluid, so luckily they were able to go in there like laparoscopically. They were able to make little incisions on my stomach, and they were able to go in and like drain it and pull it out. And that was when I was 14. And then I've had some more like after that, but they haven't, like, I haven't had to have surgery for them, so that's a bonus. Also, when I was 18, I was diagnosed with diabetes. I actually went to an endocrinologist in Houston, probably one of the top rated ones in the medical district. And I'll put like her link down below too, because she helped me out a lot. And I'm also gonna put like any link that I used for my journey, I'm gonna put down below. So like I use the Better Way Center in Corpus, like stuff like that. Like if I use them, like I'll put their link because I want them to like be credited for helping me in my journey. So if you're in the area or stuff like that, like I got you. So yeah, I was diagnosed with diabetes when I was 18, and I also thought this was the end of the world, but I was not ready to do anything about it. I was scared. I have an uncle who actually takes insulin. There's a history of diabetes in my family, and I just never took it serious. Like, I've had the conversation with my parents thousands of times before, and it just never stuck with me. I've had the conversation with my uncle who does take insulin. I have a couple of really good friends who are diabetic. I've seen them struggle with it. They've kind of talked to me about it, and I still didn't take it serious. But I did go see an endocrinologist, and she got me on some medicine. And I was taking insulin for about 6 months. The whole shot to the, like, where you just like inject yourself, like, you don't put it in your chest obviously, but like you like in your leg or on your stomach. It was on my stomach, it wasn't in my leg, but you go, and it just like releases inside of you. But so yeah, I was taking insulin. Like I said, I took it for about 6 months, and I hated it, honestly. I hated being on the insulin, like, a lot. I hated it. But it was a stepping stone to get to where I am, so I'm grateful for it. And then, on top of, like, the diagnosis, so I was taking medication for both my PCOS as well as my diabetes. So those medications combined prevented me from losing weight. And I know this sounds ludicrous. I know it's like, Alana, how can medication keep you from losing weight? That is preposterous. Well, let me tell you. So the medications I was taking were countering how my body affected to it, like how it affected my body. So because I was taking certain medication for my diabetes, because I wasn't only taking insulin, I was taking some other stuff too to help balance out, because they thought it was a thyroid problem and all this other stuff when it wasn't. But because of that, and then the medication they put me on for PCOS didn't like mesh well with each other, I began to blow up again. And that's also whenever I was away at college. So at college I was like 400 pounds. There's plenty of stuff that has happened as well, on top of like the diagnosis. Like, I've had surgeries. I've had so many surgeries, you guys, like, and I'm not talking about like my shoulder surgery. Like, I completely like disintegrated my shoulder, and I had to have it like almost completely rebuild. Like, my shoulder was like attached to my socket by ropes now. Like, I tore like 2 or 3 ligaments or something. Like, it's crazy. But I'm just talking about like the surgeries that affected me, like with my weight gain. And like sicknesses, I've been so sick. I was so sick for like the last year and a half, to be completely honest. But so like I talked about earlier, I did have cysts. I actually had 2 not this most recent February, but the February before that, like February, March, and April. I had gone through so many, like, I'd been in the hospital so many times, it was insane. January of 2017, I had type 1 flu. Later on that month, I had type 2. In February, I had my gallbladder taken out. My gallbladder hadn't been functioning for a hot minute. Like, it was just kind of sitting in my stomach. There was so much fat and stuff built around it that it just kind of shut down, and it stopped doing what a gallbladder does, So, like, I had to have surgery for that. And then I had another cyst after my gallbladder, but it was actually, like, on my lower right quadrant of my abdomen. So we thought it was my appendix. So I was, like, in and out of the hospital, but it turns out it was just, like, a big cyst that had just popped. So I had to deal with all of that. And then in May of last year, Dang, it's been a year. In May of last year, they actually found a tumor on my stomach. Thank you, Lord, that it was non-cancerous. But what it was is it was a lipoma. And it was about this big. And it was sitting on my lower right side, which was, one, causing my pain. Two, like, it hurt so bad. Like, it hurt to bend over. Like, that's why we thought it was appendicitis. And so the doctor didn't, like, you couldn't see it on any x-rays, you couldn't see it on any scans, but, when I was laying in the hospital bed, after I'd already been discharged, and I was talking to the ER nurse, or the ER doctor, actually, and I was like, I know I'm discharged, I know I'm supposed to leave, but can you please just feel my stomach? Like, there's something wrong there, I know it, just please do something. And she was like, yeah, like, give me 1 second, let me go grab some gloves, I'll be right back. She came, and I was laying flat, and she kind of felt my stomach, and she looked at me, and, because she felt it, she looked at me, and she was just like, that doesn't seem right. And, so she, like, went and grabbed a nurse, came back, the nurse felt it, and she was like, she looked at me, and she said, I want to tell you something, but I don't want you to freak out. And I was like, oh God, okay. And she was like, you do have a tumor on your stomach, but it is a lipoma, and there's a pretty good chance that it's non-cancerous. But in my head, like, at that time, I was like, holy crap, I have a tumor. Like, I have a tumor on my stomach. I didn't hear anything else, that it was a lipoma, and lipomas are fatty tumors. I didn't hear any of that. All I heard was, you have a tumor. And that, done. I was so scared. I remember texting my friends, and I was like, guys, like, I texted the very first person I texted was my my childhood best friend, Karina. I was so scared. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Like, my mom was there, but I just, when someone says that you have a tumor, like, it's difficult. I can't possibly imagine. I'm not saying that my experience was any compared to anyone else's, but mine was very traumatic because of the headspace I was in, and yes, I was probably over dramatic in how I handled it, but I don't really care. Okay, I was scared. I had a tumor. But luckily it was non-cancerous, and I was able to treat it with medicine and stuff like that. So that was a huge scare for me. And honestly, right after that was when I made my first appointment with Dr. STEGEMANN of Better Way Center in Corpus. I went in and I told him, one of my biggest things with doctors sometimes is that when you tell them, like, stuff that is physically happening to you, and then they look at you and talk to you like they don't believe you. They're like, yeah, okay, you're making this stuff up, that doesn't make sense. But it's like it's happening to my body. How am I making this up? Like, how am I making this up? Like you may not know the answer, but don't talk to me like I'm stupid. Don't insinuate things. I'm simply just sharing knowledge of, like, what's been going on with me, so that way we can work together and try to find a solution to what's making me like this. And Dr. STEGEMANN was honestly the first doctor that completely opened arms and welcomed me and understood what I was going through, and didn't talk to me like I was stupid or I was making things up. So I was super, super grateful for it. And I'm very blessed to have found his practice, because his nursing staff is amazing. Like, the surgeon hands and stuff, like, they were amazing too. But like I said, like, I will leave his link down below, so if you want to go check out his website, you're more than welcome to. And yeah. Another thing is, whenever you're going through this, any type of journey, honestly, but I've noticed more, like, of the weight loss journey, it is a huge difference on your mental state just as much as it is your physical state. Being mentally ready for this surgery is important. For those of you that don't know what the gastric sleeve is, basically what they do is they take out 80%, a little bit more than 80% of your stomach out through little incisions. And what it does is it shrinks your appetite and you basically retrain your stomach. So like some things you ate before the surgery won't taste the same. You won't want things. You don't want to have certain things. I have not had a soda in almost a year, which is crazy because I was drinking like 2 sodas a day for like 20 years of my life. But one thing that you do have to understand is that in order to have this surgery, like you have to go through certain steps. Like you have to see a dietitian, you have to try to lose weight on your own, you have to keep a food log. And everyone's different depending on their insurance. I was a self-pay, but I still had to go through a lot of this stuff just to make sure that I was mentally and emotionally ready for the surgery, because it's a big surgery and a lot changes. Like literally the day you go into your surgery, your life changes 100%. I don't recommend it being your first choice. Mine became like, I need to do it. I've tried to lose weight. And I'll talk more about that in a different video about like my past weight loss like failures and why stuff didn't work out for me. So I don't recommend getting it if I don't recommend if you're 300 pounds and you've never tried to eat healthy and you've never tried to work out and then all of a sudden you want to get the sleeve. I feel like you should definitely try the healthier way first. Try to avoid surgery as much as possible. Mine just became to where I needed it, and my doctor agreed. He told me, he was like, Elena, I'm not ever going to put you under the knife unless you are comfortable, and I feel like this is the best thing for you to do from a surgical standpoint. And I appreciate that, because I feel like if I would have tried to do this like when I was 18, I wouldn't have been mentally or emotionally ready. And that says a lot, because I used to think so highly of myself. But going back to what I was saying is that you have to be physically, emotionally, and mentally ready. It takes a toll on you, honestly. Especially when you become especially when you started out as a social drinker or a social eater. So anything you do revolves around food, and then all of a sudden you have your surgery and you can't do those things anymore. I specifically remember Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving after my surgery was so hard. Thanksgiving was my favorite holiday ever. My mom makes some badass, excuse my language, but she makes some badass dressing. I look forward to every year eating that dressing, which is terrible, but it's so amazing. And I still want it, but I'm not gonna eat it. But I remember being so upset that I was gonna miss out on it, and then I snapped back and I was like, hey, you're doing this for yourself. Why are you feeling bad? You were about to change your entire life, and you're feeling bad because you're gonna miss out on one Thanksgiving. That is all you're asking me to sacrifice, is one Thanksgiving, and you're upset about it. You need to get your priorities straight, woman, and you need to stop. You were throwing a pity party for no reason. So, it was hard, for sure. It definitely was. But I'm so glad that I decided to do it when I did it. I feel like the fact that I did it before Thanksgiving showed more of myself than I thought it was going to. It showed that I can withstand food and being around it. I'm not saying it was easy by any means. It was very hard. Especially at dinner when my food was this and then everybody else's plate was like this, and they were going for desserts and stuff, and I just chuckled on by, But it takes a toll on you, for sure. For the longest time, it's month 6 for me, and I'm just now starting to go out with my friends. I'm just now starting to realize it's okay to go sit down and eat at a restaurant. Granted, I don't ever eat that much, so I usually split with someone. But it's okay to go out into a social setting and enjoy food It's just limiting yourself and trying to understand what's best for your body and putting in good stuff rather than like deep fried stuff all the time and stuff like that. And emotionally, like, people do tend to treat you different. I've noticed that more with people that I've grown up with who have seen me get bigger, and then now they're seeing me get smaller. They treat me different. But everyone in my hometown that I've talked to, at least, or that I have on Facebook, they are all very supportive of me, and I appreciate them. Like, their constant support for me and my weight loss and my journey and me trying to figure out what I want to do and helping people. Like, their constant support is amazing, and I couldn't ask for a better community to kind of like start with me on that. So I appreciate y'all. Whenever you lose weight, people look at you different, for sure. Especially whenever you have the gastric sleeve. People look down on the gastric sleeve as the easy way out, and that's not what it is. Yes, you lose weight faster, but by no means is it the easy way out. Especially when you have a food addiction, because how can you sit there and lose all this weight and then still have a food addiction, right? Like, you just lost like 150 pounds. Like, how can you still be struggling with food? You must have mastered it. No, I struggle all the time. Every day I struggle with food. It's a learning process. It definitely is. It's learning about food and what it does to you and what effects it has on your body, and learning that it's okay to have a cheat day, and it's okay if that cheat day lasts more than one day, but it's about getting up, restarting, and finishing your goal. Like, you're gonna have bumps in the road. You're gonna have days where you're like, damn, I just want a tub of ice cream, and that's okay. Eat you some ice cream. Try not to indulge, but if it happens, don't beat yourself up. Because I did. For a really long time, I would beat myself up for it. And that's not okay. And I definitely think that anyone can do it if they put their mind to it. It's just a matter of willpower behind it as well. But you can do it. I promise. Alright guys, so that's it for my video today. Let's hope I can do this editing better than I can do the filming, because it was a little something. But just kind of a synopsis. I'm gonna be making some more videos. I'm gonna try to be consistent. I'm gonna try to get at least one out a week. I'm gonna do a Q&A in a couple weeks, and then I'm gonna do a favorites video. So if you have any questions for that Q&A, please leave a comment down below. Follow me on my social media. Hit that subscribe button for me. And also, like, if you feel like you are struggling with a food addiction, please reach out. It's okay. You're not the only one. I promise. I've been there. Also, if you feel like someone can benefit from this video, please share it with them. Even if I just help one person, I know I'm doing the right thing. So I appreciate you guys. I know it's probably going to be a long video. Just know that if you've made it this far, like, you, the real MVP, not all my videos are going to be this long, but this is just kind of my introduction. And, yeah. Bye, guys.